Good morning, sisters. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning. To remind you that today the spiritual session is in charge of Asia.
Yes, I will be in charge of today's spiritual opening. My name is Megumi Kamiya. I'm from Okinawa, Ryukyu, Japan. So our community are unique from ancestor worship, different from Japanese Buddhism, still remain today. Today, I would like to introduce Obon. So just a moment. I will take that. Can I see? Could you see? Okay. And Obon is a period when the spirits of one ancestors are welcomed home and honored. In Okinawa, Obon is called Kyubon, and it's held over 3 days from July 30 to 15, according to the lunar calendar. Unlike the Obon observed in mainland Japan in August according to the solar calendar, Kyubon is a Buddhism event. Kyubon is based on the lunar calendar, so the days change every year. So first day, we called Unkei. This is the day when ancestors are welcomed into the home. The family altar and ancestor tablet are clean and offerings such as flower fruit and Okinawa-style mixed rice are placed before them. In the evening, incense is burned at the entrance, and the family gather to welcome the spirits of their ancestors. Second day, we called Nakanubi. This is the middle day of Obon, when relatives gather the home where the ancestor tablets are kept, bring gift, and share a meal. It's also time for relatives to socialize and reconnect. Final day, Ukui. This is the day when ancestors are sent back to the afterlife, and it is considered the most important day. A feast packed in a lunchbox and sake are offered, and the family gather in front of altar express their gratitude. Finally, uchikabi, paper money. Uchikabi is the burn to send money to the ancestor for use the afterlife. Uchikabi is symbolized money for the spirit world. By burning it on ukui, we send money to ensure our ancestors do not face hardship in the afterlife. Today, we burn incense and money of our ancestors and send our thought and gratitude to the other worlds. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Sister Nagumi, for this invocation, a spiritual invocation that unites us all as sisters. I'd like to ask all the sisters to please activate your cameras as women or women of territory, of life, women that generate and procreate conditions for life to persist, to show our smiles. I want to invite you to be able to see each other, that we can be happy today, this work day, and to be able to advance in the activity we have programmed for today. After the activity we had for the spiritual aspect, I'd like to ask Samai to collaborate, I believe, Liliana, to give space to her. She's going to give us context, some recommendations before we start the session as such. Good morning, all my colleagues, Rufina, everybody. Thank you for being on time today. It's one of the most important values in life, and we're developing it here together in this encounter. So I'm very, very happy. I'm very thankful that all of us can be here and be here on time. I'm going to take a few minutes to be able to do a small summary, a small reminder of how we are until now. You know that the diploma course is done with a 50% or less of generating tools that can be of use for you. And the other 50% is of those that are part of the process. That in this case, it's each one of the sisters that we have from Latin America, from the Pacific, from Asia, from Africa, that are here. So we read some commitments when we applied, and these commitments many times they can kind of stay in the air, but I'm here to revisit them and look back at our commitments. We think they're very important as we're reviewing our commitment with being on time. And I think, yes, we need to see this to be able to walk together. So when you applied for this diploma course, you all looked at these requirements, these minimal requirements that we had to have. So it had to be an Indigenous woman, part of a community, of an organization. And if it better if we spoke a original language, because this can strengthen the way we see the world from our own languages. And also, one of the most important points for us is that all the participants are able be uh, to be able to come to every single one of the virtual meetings. So this means from the 25th of April, once we started, to all the way to the end of the diploma course in September. And I know this means that we need to take time every Tuesday, every Friday, 3 hours, and connect. And connecting with a computer, that we're able to have access to internet. This is very, very important, because it is not very pedagogical for our learning process if we're looking at the class through a cell phone, because we're trying to work it in groups sometimes. We're always using presentations and we're going to adjust them. We're trying to see with our teachers, with Liliana, so that this can be bilingual, and we hope that we can have them so that it'll be easier to connect to the classes, because we know that our attention is minimum and we have to concentrate, and the screens, all the materials, all the things we use here must help us, must be aids. I'm sorry. We must have we can listen to your suggestions and improve every time, but we also need to have on your behalf to be able to connect and be here 100% at the classes. I'd like to invite you to take advantage fully of each one of these classes, because I believe that, at least in Latin America, for me, this is one of the few spaces that are made by Indigenous women, for Indigenous women, and not only from one country, but globally. And so this means that this is a very enriching possibility to have someone here from Asia, and a sister from Latin America, a sister from the Pacific, and sisters from Africa. So this is really allows us to get to know each other and enrich our knowledge of each one, from each one, to enrich our wisdom. But we need to, in order to do this, we need to share. I'd love to get to know what Marta and her community and with her people, I'm sorry, excuse me, is building as their own methodology of research in her own community. Or I'd love to know that Sabato might get to know the methodology that Nagumi is using in her community. So this is the way we're crossing and exchanging. But if I can't participate, if I'm only paying 30% of attention or 20%, Nagumi's not going to know what Sabato knows, her wisdom, her knowledge. A class is made in class and I mean with all of us. And this is why the teacher Rufina is giving us a class for all of us. And then we go into rooms. When we go into the rooms, our vision is so that you can converse, uh, listen to each other, and there you're also creating networks. I'd like to understand that these classes go further than the class itself. They're going to create networks amongst the women, what networks for life, because as you are right now, yes, the life is beautiful and we're always crossing paths again. So these are going to be partners for life. Consider them partners for life. We're here for a cause. We're here because we want to improve and support or get rights for our communities. And we do it through research. So this research is going to have a soul, is going to have impact in our communities. And as I sometimes, let's say, Jusleda might feel that she's alone with her ideals, her thoughts, but then she listens to Sabato, or she listens to Martha Patti or Halima. They can create networks of women, and that's the most important aspect. And so I don't want to take longer, but I'd like to say that we do need you to give us your support in being here and really take advantage of this opportunity and be fully here for the classes. We'd like you to have to be able to be here every class, every Tuesday and every Friday, and the times have already been established. And we also think that being Indigenous women, we can receive quality education, and we can also
And
respond
also we can
with
answer with
responsibility
responsibility
to this
to
wisdom
this
that Rufina
wisdom, to
has,
Rufina's
the
wisdom,
wisdom that
to the
Lorena,
wisdom that
teacher Lorena
teacher
has,
Lorena
each one of
has,
them, and the
to
other
each
teachers that
one of
will
them
come.
and the next
These
teachers
are
to
teachers that
follow.
want to share a lot from their knowledge,
These
their
women, they want to share a
experiences.
lot from their
And
knowledge,
so
from
let's
their
take
experience.
advantage very, very
So
much. Let's
let's
ask
make a use of that.
questions.
Let's
Let's
question.
be
Let's be
curious.
curious.
Maybe
Perhaps
there'll be
there
some
there will be
questions
some
that
questions that
the
the
teachers
teachers
might
won't be
not be able
able
to answer.
to
Let's
answer.
see, oh, we have a double voice.
Other of the commitment would be the more participation, not only attend and to be connected, but to be present and ask, participate. I invite you to develop, because we all are leaders in our spaces, in our communities. We It would be good to develop that leadership that we have here in the classroom or in the sessions. Small example would be when we do group work, right? Somebody always must be leading the group, asking, okay, what are we going to do? What are the instructions, colleagues, partners? Let's check the instructions. So we only have 15 minutes. Where are we going to work? In PowerPoint or in a Canvas or in Google Docs? Like, start with this initiative, because each minute that passes, we lose the chance to get to know each other. So I invite you to work in group, in the sessions group. Let's generate this initiative to work together. And I know that many of us were doing it, but it is important to talk again and see this process. We can talk together, walk together. Ready? And a last request, you know that this diploma, it requires some points such as like what it is created for case studies, besides many other ends that we want to reach with this diploma, is to create a women network, also the research. So we must go to our communities, do a case study. But in order to do this, we need to prepare a research protocol. And the deadline is May the 30th. So we ask you to check in what time, if you're finishing up or if you're still working on it. So we only got left one week. We got just 1 week. If we have finished with the protocol, we can upload it time ahead, so the tutors could have time to check, to revise, and give you feedback. The protocol is the minimum requirements to get the scholarship of the subvention, which is a recognition to the research that you're going to do. Okay, so please upload your research or protocol on Moodle to virtual platform. So the deadline is May the 30th. But if you can send it ahead, up ahead, it's okay. You can do it. You have the number of your tutors. You can send them a text message and tell them, teacher, I already sent it. You can do the checking, the comments, the revision, and you can send any feedback with time, right? Ahead of time. Even if you have a question, doubts, you can have meetings with your tutors, right? Each one of you already know your tutors. So please generate this conversation with them. If you have any doubts, questions, once you send the protocol, we will go next to the case studies, right? The case study that we're going to develop. The approach, the deadline is going to be May 30th. Then Liliana sent us a schedule about the deadlines. I believe that this is on the platform Moodle. So you have this this schedule, so you can have and check and follow this schedule. So that's it. Now, last point that I forgot, I would like to have a meeting with our colleagues from Latin America, so we can check some specific points, some specific aspect with our colleagues from Latin America, because we believe very much that it is really difficult to be indigenous woman, because it means a lot of barriers, and even more if we're in the fields, like in suburbs. Many times the connections are low, and sometimes we have issues with the connection. So we believe it's really important to talk and see, know your realities. So it is really important for us to have to hold a meeting with the group of Latin America. We'd like to meet with you on Wednesday, next Wednesday, at 7 a.m. Guatemala time. Wednesday is May the 28th. Yes, so that would be the agreement. Just to check, one commitment is to be on the session and participate. Okay. The second point is develop leader capacities in the class. The third is send the protocol. Deadline is May 30th. And the fifth is we need to hear from you. If you have any question, ask. We need to meet. We need to know you. So in order to do that, we need to speak with each other. So that would be it. Thank you very much. Okay, I'm giving now the mic to our teacher, Rufina. Thank you very much, Sister Samai, for the recommendations, beautiful recommendations. Before we start, I want that you understand I'm really having issues with my throat because I have some flu, but with all my heart, I have the spirit to work. Okay. To start with, I want to share with you, sisters, with each one of you, the reflections that I've had these days It is almost following the same line that Sister Samai said. It is important. It is really important to know among us, like to know each other among us. I'm an indigenous woman from a really deep territory. In my territory, we don't have internet. We don't have connectivity. We don't have anything like internet-wise, technology-wise. That has taken me to understand these days the interculturality is not just to understand the Western world, but also the indigenous world. So interculturality must be weaved among us and indigenous people that we exist in the world. For example, I'm trying to understand to our sister from Asia, from Africa, okay? As Samai says, it's going to be enriching to share within us, among us, the knowledge that we have, the wisdom we have, that cultural structure that we have in our territories, the ways of or that we have of working with the indigenous women in the territories. With the time, I understand that there are methodologies that are called intercultural. I didn't know at first, but then now I understand that. So I'll be sharing with you during this session my experience, how I started working on intercultural research. Okay, so my invitation is that interculturality must be felt within us as indigenous people. So we cannot just homogenize this, but we need to share that within us we have this methodology. In that order, we're going to start. I'm going to socialize the content of what we're going to be working with in today's session, okay? Today is our third session, yes, and the learning objective is to reflect on the experiences and knowledge of indigenous women from Abya Yala, Africa, and Asia on intercultural research as a starting point for the decolonization and reconstitution of the knowledge, science, and historical and current contributions of the indigenous peoples. So I'm going to ask communication that they project exactly. Module 3, training, intercultural methodologies, and research. Can we continue? Can we continue? The other, go ahead. Perfect. First moments, we're going to feedback activity. If you remember, sisters, we had in the previous class, in the previous session, we were pending that with some activities that you were going to do, like to feed up the forum with the questions that we left, right? And that's what I'm going to do the feedback about with the details, your contribution that you did on that forum yesterday. So what I tried to do to collect like the answers that you gave to this forum, and that's what we're going to give the feedback on. So from that spacious, we're going to get into an activity, group activity, We call it experiential context. It's a group activity where methodologically we're going to draw like a tree, right? We're going to draw a tree. It's a group tree.
This is a group work where the seed has a meaning that these are the steps, the methodology steps that we are going to take into account for the research, for a research project and methodological. After this, we're going to present this activity after we have been doing previously. You're going to name a leader who's going to share the activity for the group, how the group worked for this activity. Then we're going to see some interviews that were done to researchers, their videos, and then we're going to give feedback on our reflections. And then lastly, we're going to make a map, the map of my territory activity. This is going to be an individual work that we're going to draw in this map. The most important, what your territory means, the most important things that how you feel, what's most relevant for you in your territory. And as well, we're it's going to be like a randomized way that some of you can present this work and share. Whoever's not able to share will share it in Moodle so everybody can see it and we can have all the work there. Okay, so we're gonna start. Oh, and I forgot, for your comfort, we're going to have as a evaluation of the activities. And then in the end, we're going to on the 30th, we're going to do another evaluation. There's going to be 2 evaluations, not every day, to not saturate you and to evaluate so that you feel happy, as somebody was saying, not that we can take advantage every minute, every second to get to know each other and build from these different looks that we each have as Indigenous women from each of our territories. So we're going to go into the topic. Here we're going to cover motivation. The next slide, please. The learning objectives, as I was saying, is to reflect on the experiences and knowledges of the Indigenous women from Abya-Yala, Africa and Asia. That's the objective for today, or objective for today, on the intercultural research as a starting point for the decolonization and reconstitution of the knowledge, science, and historical and current contributions of the Indigenous people. Excuse me. Next. Okay, so here we're getting into our manner. This is the preliminary motivation stage. It's a feedback activity. So as I mentioned before, we're going to give feedback of what you put in, your responses that you had for the guiding questions in the forum that closed yesterday regarding the activity we had last session with these questions regarding the importance of the body and the care of the body and the territory and the identification of our own ways. I'm sorry, I couldn't get all the details, but let me look in the guide. So the questions, these are the questions that were worked on in the forum. Which were the guiding ethic? What were the ethic guiding principles that you identify in your community? From your posture as a indigenous community, what are you doing to safeguard the ethical principles? So in synthesis, you shared, just Leida shared there's especially in the roles as a advisor, and the commitment to uphold these values in the research and cultural activities. From Rocio, she expresses her worry for the loss of the practices and traditional ways of life in her community in face of the globalization, and reaffirms her commitment as a researcher in defending values, knowledge, ancestral knowledge, and the ancestral ways and knowledge, using legal tools like the 3908 OIT, make valid the respect of the local authorities. From Nagumi sister, she expresses through her intervention the ethical principles of the indigenous people from Okinawa, as respect for sovereignty and historic justice. She describes actions that are being taken by indigenous researchers to protect the heritage, including legal procedures, international pressure, and education in the face of lack of ethical guides and abuse from external researchers. The synthesis of the participation from Haram Kim. She, as an indigenous researcher, she says that her community lives from values like respect, collective work. She's guaranteed to protect these principles in the research processes that are being that local languages be used, and share these results, promote the cultural autonomy of her people. From Martha, she is based on aperture, honesty, the previous approval, and informed. She is committed to regard the traditions, asking permissions to the elders before taking pictures or sharing information to protect the values and avoid negative consequences. Natomi, as an indigenous woman, I commit to participatory knowledge creation, strengthening of the role of women, and the intergenerational transmission of knowledge, as with deep respect for spiritual practices and the natural environment. Halima shares the ethical principles, with respect of the elders, the collective responsibility, the comply of traditional rules, and the reverence for Kanao as a traditional spiritual being. As well, Halima highlight that there's some ancestral ways of conflict resolutions that are used. Habiba, the community, the pastor's community is ruled by the ethical principle that guides the way of behaving and expressing. She is committed to reflect and respect these values in her work, doing research with the approval of the community and documenting the values to preserve and transmit them to the future generations. Sister Priscilla says that it's very important to maintain the values, take into account the systems of traditional systems of knowledge that are transmitted orally, that have a high regard for nature and the community. So in general, we can say, sisters, that as a summary, a general summary, a lot of you wrote, but time is limited. We're short in time, so I'm just going to make a summary, a general summary, to say that from the one I was able to gather, the diverse Indigenous communities reflect a deep commitment to preservation and protection of their ethical principles that are fundamental, that go around the respect of elders, the community, nature, culture, and the ancestral knowledge and wisdom. Each participant, from her role as a researcher and an active leader of her people, highlight the importance of maintaining these values alive through respect, traditions, previous and informed approval, and community work, and intergenerational transmission of knowledge. Besides, they highlight the need to protect dignity and autonomy for their culture from external menaces like globalization. The extractivist research and dispossession. They will promote respectful and informed research that are appropriate, and constant approval of the elders to give back the results to the community. The reflections also show a great emphasis on reciprocity, historic justice, the strengthening of the traditional roles, the legal defense of the Indigenous rights, and the value of self-knowledge as a key element for cultural resistance and decolonization of the academic and thought world. We can say that these voices of the Indigenous women express that the research must be an act of self-care, responsibility, and respectful dialogue that will contribute to the conservation and strengthening of their identities, ethical values, and ways of life, and communal ways of life. This is what I was able to gather, sisters, and make a general synthesis with from your very valuable comments, that you enrich these with your voices that are in this forum. It gives us light that how all of us, even though we're from different cultures and we're in different places, different geographical places, we have points in common, that we have a way of respect to our cultures, a respect to our territories, the value of our rights, our cultural rights, territorial rights,
Yes, our
social
rights
rights.
or social rights. We find ourselves as well. It is really important to have the ethics in these research processes. So in order to preserve this ancestral knowledge, this self-wisdom, I feel like we're on that road, that the love to take care of body is to take care of our mind, the ways of life that exist in the communities. I would like to share in this space that after my feedback, if there's a sister that could, if a sister could give tell me if I could collect your thinking, maybe it would be good to share with among us. Like, I have gathered what you raised your contribution, but it'd be interesting if you could tell me if if you're if you feel identified with what I said, and we can keep with the conversation within us, within us, among us. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night, good evening. Okay, I like very much how teacher interpreted what I mentioned in the assignment that she left. In my municipality, we're living a complex situation. We are living in the valley of the Mexico City. We are facing a process that where the women, they are trying to substitute their current way of life, and this has contributed that our people are not considered as indigenous community, and the government is mentioning that is in the past, that there's no more indigenous community, that we need to be modern. They just see us as inferiors, like low people. So that's a big challenge for me, because it is not easy. In many occasions, they came to the communities and they told us. So people, they sometimes they are mocked in how we live, how we think. They make mockeries about us, but I try to explain them how things are seen, like the topic of respect to the community, the ethical principle could be here in my community. From the fireplace, we prepare the food. I remember that my mom used to prepare the food with the fire, So we used to gather around this fire, and my mom could prepare food, the tortilla. So from that that point started our ethical principles, because it teaches us how to respect the rules, and then we go to the communities. So the way of how to greet the elders. So in our community, we greet the elders, giving our hands and kissing their hands. But personally, what the teacher interpreted, I really liked it. How how she quoted in the way of her, according to her knowledge. So I feel identified with all, because I know that we have the same feeling, the same pain, maybe what we have lived in our communities. And yes, I liked it very much, teacher Rufina, how she quoted my thought. Thank you very much. Thank you to you. Okay, if there's any other sister that would like to share really quick. If there's no sisters to share, we're going to do next activity. But before that, sisters, I want to in a way of in order to connect the previous session with this session. Yes. I would like to do feedback what we did in the previous session. In the last session, we were doing an activity named corporal body map, and the objective was to raise the experience lived in your communities related to the role of the woman in the community and the territory. We also talked about the characteristic of the intercultural methodology and what you identified in your territories, and you articulated with the key elements of the objective of a research. So what we're trying to do is to just to link the previous session with this session. So that's why we're trying to do this. So we had that tools, and now we're going to go to the next activity, and it's also a group activity. The same group that we formed in the previous session. The idea is to maintain the same groups. So continue with today's session. So please, the organizing, if you can project the slide, please, just to organize the group, or remember how it was organized, the group. Next. Right here. It is projected that we're going to work in the following way, as I told you. It's the same group that we already organized, right? The idea is to maintain the 3 groups. The idea is the participants that are in this group, they could talk, they could do a debate related to the questions that are there in the slide. The first question: with what ideas did I join the community? What essence do I bring as I participate in the community? What do I want to transmit in this question, sisters? The seed symbolizes, is like when you do a plant, right? You choose a seed and you say to yourself, how am I going to plant it, right? So if I plant this in summer, would it be good? If I plant it in summer, would it have the same? Is it going to grow? Yes. Is it going to sprout? Suddenly, something happens in what you have planned, and so you say, I'm going to see. So in my community, we plant cassava, the venomous cassava. So we say, I'm going to plant this seed of cassava seed. But suddenly we had a long summer. We had a long summer, and what did that summer did? So the cassava seed didn't sprout as we were expecting. So this is the part of the planning that a researcher should have in a research project. Things could happen along the way, right? Something could happen along the way, so we have to have that in the plan. So the second question: what are the practices and knowledge used? So what I'm saying here is, in my research project, intercultural research project, I said roots, because it becomes to be the objective, the main objective of my project. So it's a planning what I do in my territory, what do I have, what do I want to do, why do I want to do, what I'm going to accomplish with what I'm going to do, right? And then I get to organize. But in my culture, what I'm showing you here, we do it in a gathering session. Men, women, kids, all of us, we get together and talk about the situation that is happening in our territory. Yes. Generally, no investigation comes out in an individual way. It comes out from a situation that is affecting the territory. We talk about it, we document it, and according to the role of the person that are in the communities, according to the role of the leaders, the healers, the singers, the territory caretaker, and the food caretaker. So that this is a we see it as a life project, that it has an impact. It has a territorial impact. It has a cultural impact. Um, it has an impact on persons, but a positive impact. But we got to be aware of the negative impact that we could have. So the roots for me is the objectives of, it's like the main objective or the general objective. Then it comes the following questions. I call it the tree of life, like the leaves. The leaves are the actions, like the activities, right? The activities that is going to carry out the research project that I'm going to do. What activities am I going to do? What am I going to do in order for my project to give results, in order to accomplish the general objectives that I'm following? Yes? Or the objectives. We could, yeah, because we have a general objective and specific objectives. At the end, I talk about the STEM, which are the people that are going to take care of the research project. That the people that are going to take care of the research project and this in order to give results in this project. So they're going to harmonize and they're going to organize and take care of the research project. The flowers, as as all know, they sprout, they bloom really beautifully. They give us a beautiful aroma, delicious aroma. It lightens the spirit. It lightens the heart. The flowers are the achievements. What did I achieve? What did I do? What difficulties did I have? Did I achieve without any difficulty? So that's the idea of the work. And also I wrote, what aspects should we improve to better protect the knowledge of our community? So I said it could be parasites or ants. If you see in nature, sometimes the ants plagues or insects plants, it could harm our cultivations. So some situation could harm our project. But when we're structuring or organizing our project, we need to do evaluation and follow up to the project that we're doing, okay? Because we're going to be aware of you're going to be aware, taking care of your project, right? Of the ants and other insects. So this could be this is what you're going to do in your group work. I don't know if you understood. So, but I did this following a methodology, but also taking into account the organizing structure of a project from our from our point of view and how we can articulate this. And with this we can improve or articulate with we can articulate with outside methodology, because our methodology is oral, but now we need to document it, we need to write it down. I heard about a topic of someone said something about to show like a case study, like a tool. This is going to be a product or a result that is going to be for you. So if there's any doubt, you can ask. The Tree of Life is not a project.
The Tree of Life is not a short time project. This is a long-term project. Not only for me as a person, but also not only me as a person, but that I can be a motor, that I can help, a motor for change, that I can help work harmonic with harmony, communal, and to be able to put forth this research project with tools from the outside. So it's very important to write. I call it the diary, the field diary, but and this is not something we use normally as Indigenous people, because usually we do it orally, but this is important. And so our books are the activities that we do in our territory. We take the seed, and then I go see where I'm going to put it, and then I do follow-up, and I do all this work all the way to harvesting. And once we harvest, I'm ending with the project. But when I start leave, then when we start preparing the land, we're taking the weeds out, if we're preparing our field or our this is a follow-up. If we're doing this in our garden, in our orchard. So this is the project. This is the project that I'm going to be doing. I'm going to keep it going because I'm gonna clean, I'm gonna put some water there, whatever work I do, the care I do regarding the ways of my culture, the sustainability of that project as well. No, so that's kind of the idea of this activity that we're going to do in the groups. And as always, you choose, as we've done previously, you choose a leader to present this result of the activity. And we have very little time, but if there's any questions, if you have any questions, let's do it now, or I can go directly into the groups. Teacher, let's just say that we have the PowerPoint with the questions. So you're each gonna have it so that it doesn't get lost. Okay, great. Yes, thank you, Liliana. That's great. As Liliana was saying, we have the link in PowerPoint. You have it already so that you can put your work there. It's 9:05 in Colombia, but I don't know your times, but we're gonna have for this activity 25 minutes. Okay, exactly. Thank you, Liliana. Okay. So what we're gonna do is go into the groups. Some of you're going to stay in the main room, which will be your group, and others will go into other rooms. So the ones that stay is one group, and the other two groups will be put into the other rooms. Halima, can you accept for team 2? Team 3 is integrated. For team 2, Umu is okay. Everybody's in their own groups. Okay, go ahead. So the ones of us that are here are part of the team 1. There are other people from the IT support, but the team is Grace, Natosumi. Okay, great. Thank you. I'm gonna stay here for a minute, and I'll be going into the other groups. So please look at the questions and we can start discussing and filling out the map. Do you have any questions, comments, clarifications on how to do the work? This is the team. This is the main room. I'm gonna send you the link. I'm gonna put it here, please. Balki is here? No. Okay, let's see. Habiba. So this is team 1. And I'm going to give you your link. Could you please tell me if you're able to access?
Ver su enlace.
If you can see the link and you can access it, I put it in the chat.
Ahí es donde van a poner su
This is where
actividad.
you are going to put in your
Ajá. Y es el que van a
your
proyectar.
work. And this is what you're going to project in the plenary room.
Gracias. Me cambió de grupo, me voy a
Okay,
otro
thank
grupo.
you. I'm going to the next team.
Hello guys, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, where we are is our group. So I think we can start working with the question that we are given. And the link, I think it's in the comments where we can put our work.
Yes, exactly. This is the group and the link is in the comments. My sisters, as I said in the beginning, for today's session, I would like to be able to see you with your camera open so we can look at each other. Please open your cameras. Hello, Sister Rufina. I have problems with my computer. I cannot access my camera. I think Natsume made a question. Did you have a question? Do you want to repeat your question?
No, I don't have a question. I was just to my colleagues that this is our group and the link is in the comment in the chat, so we can put our work there. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you. Sorry. Grace, I'd love to see you. Hola.
Please. Is that group 1? I can't see my name in group 2 and 3.
Este es el grupo.
Is that group 1? My name didn't appear in
Yeah, we
group
are
2
here.
or 3. Group 1.
Yes, this is group 1.
Yeah, this is group 1, Grace.
Okay. Okay.
Also, I have a question with the tree. Someone to interpret for us the details there.
You have a question with what part? I'm sorry.
The tree, the language in the tree.
Ah, the language. Okay, let me open the link so I can
Yes,
see it.
please.
And hold on. Algo con respecto. Ay, espérame. In the tree, it's a methodology. It's a methodology is that in the tree you put in this. There's a question, and it's being represented symbolically as a seed, right? So this seed is when you start to plan for the research project that you're going to do. What are you going to do? Why am I going to do it? How am I going to do it? It's like when you take the seed, any seed, that you have in your country, in your territory, that you can say, I'm going to put it in my, in a pot, or in my garden, or in my field, a piece of land that I have. I'm going to plant it there, and it's going to take this amount of, oh, it can be maybe something happened, there was a lot of rain, there was a lot of cold. Listo. Okay, so regarding the question, so it's very simple. The seed, what thought, with what thought did I go to the community? Why the indigenous organizing structure of my territory? Why am I there? And what's the essence what is my role that I play there in the community? So this is very important to take into account, because my way of thought is what's going to give the success in my research project. So if I do it with a sense of belonging, with love for the identity of myself as an Indigenous woman, my project will have clarity clearness in the focus that I'm going to give it, that I'm going to put into my research project. So it's like a symbolism that what I'm using is a seed. As I said before, it's the planning. I'm part of this community. Because I love my people, because I'm an Indigenous person, I'm part of my culture, and I'm going to think of this project for the well-being of maybe the women, or thinking of the collectiveness of everybody in my territory, or there's maybe a topic that had to do with dispossession or plundering that is affecting the nature or the well-being of my people, the human and the non-human, right? So I'm going to start planning this and organizing myself, and that's the seed. That's to very, very detailed, taking into account every little thing. So what kind of ground? This is metaphoric. What kind of ground is it? Does it need water? Do we need a stick so that when I'm done, I can climb up? So different details that we're going to take into account in the planning. So afterwards, the next question is, what are the practices and self-knowledge that we're going to use, right? From your culture. What are the positive actions that you do in favor of preservation, conservation, and strengthening of the cultural identity, the love toward your territory, toward your different connections that we have as Indigenous people with our territory, body, territory, and everything around it that has to do with spirituality as well. So here in the world, in the methodology, our own methodology, this might be the root. That's the objective. That's the general objective in the roots. What do I want to do with this? What is kind of the long run strengthening objective? This cultural strengthening. It could be recuperating practices that have been forgotten for the self-care of women, or the nutrition systems. And so the leaves are the songs, we can say, or the actions. What actions do we do every day in intercultural research? The actions are the activities that you're going to do. So that would be in the leaves of the tree. The activities that are going to give me the possibility of reaching my objectives, my general objectives, my specific objectives, right? So here we're going part by part, structuring our project and asking questions from our own knowledge. And the flowers are the achievements, the results of your research project, right? But here it says, what achievements have we had from our own personal specific research? We've all done some research in some case. So what achievements have you had already? So we just place it there as flowers. And what aspects must we improve? These are the possible menaces, certain situations that are not planned that might happen, like that out of the blue might come. And so these are maybe, I put it there as the ants that sometimes attack our field. Maybe it could be parasites, it could be that they come and they however careful we are, they can hurt our crop. So it's something external that comes and destroys or could destroy our field, our crop, our plant. And then the birds, I named them as our allies. Allies that are those that come help us, and they can put in maybe clean or give more strength unite. Sometimes we have allies that are an institution, maybe the government, cooperation that it can give support, economic support with some money, any other activities that might come and aid us, might help in the process that you want to get done in your territory for your research. So there's always someone that collaborates, NGOs, the institutions, so that what we want is also if we want to what we have here to be known outside as well. So then there's the evaluation of what we're doing. So that's what we want you to put there. So this is the tree of life, because the projects or work that are trying that are this is a proposal for life, not just a moment. If I use this methodology, this is a bet for improving our life. What I've done in my territory with this methodology, it allows me to identify actions in the short, in the mid, and in the long run. So this is the method shared. Any question? Anything that's not clear? So everything's clear, right? I feel that with this activity, the idea was to get to know how you've been doing this kind of work in your territories and the methodologies that you've been using already. So here, very humbly, I'm trying to transmit each one of you the way that I do my work from my territory. Yes? Was the explanation clear? Okay, great. So are you in the link and being able to, do you want to talk with each other?
Hello, is everyone here?
Yes, we are here.
So yeah.
Yes, hello.
Did you guys understand from the interpreter?
What was that again?
I'm asking, did everyone understand what you just explained?
Sí. Yes. Grace, were you able to hear clearly?
Yes.
Okay, great. So the group is Grace, Nato, and Marta, Susana. The rest of us are from FIMI, Nadia
Yeah.
and Samai are here for support. And the IT is the controller people, the people from the web. So if you want to go ahead and discuss to fill out I understand this going into the link and filling out that, so then it could be presented to the bigger group.
Yeah.
Natosi.
I think we start by answering the questions how we feel. I think it will be easier. Someone can help us filling in the link. How about that?
How are we doing here?
So,
Hello, Liliana.
Natosi.
I'm here.
Okay, so
Natosi,
what questions are we answering? Is it what are
¿cuáles son
the
las?
ideas?
Yeah, they're in the link. The questions are in the link.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, is it different from ideas? Did we join the community? What essence do we bring as we participate in the community? Is it different from that?
No, those are the questions actually.
And then what are the practices and
Yeah,
knowledge used?
you are right. That's where we
Okay.
are. Yeah.
Okay, so using a tray, I made to understand
Yeah,
that
we use it.
yes, the truth should represent the objective and the
Yeah.
activities, right?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so what ideas now? What do we want to really achieve for our community? Is it specific or we agree in this group? Are we agreeing on um research idea and then discuss about it? Is that what we're supposed to do? Are you there?
Wait, what? Like from how I understood this, the first question is that what change are we bringing to the community? What is that positive thing that we are bringing there? I don't know if I am right.
Yes, it's part of it. The
Yeah.
ideas, the positive change as an indigenous woman. What are
Yeah.
the ideas that we're bringing into the community that will benefit the community?
Yeah, sure. That's where we are.
Okay. Generally, in,
Okay, so the group is going to close because
indigenous, no.
we finished the time.
What?
Wow.
Yeah, we had 25 minutes and they're up. But maybe while everybody comes back, we can continue just putting out ideas. What I understand is that she wants us to think about the seed as kind of the values, then the trunk, the objectives, the leaves, no, the result, the activities, the flowers, the result, the birds, the external help, and the roots are kind of the self-knowledge and not values previously upheld by the community and the belonging.
So, did we say we are that Natasha, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Do we say that the change you want to bring to the community is ensuring that indigenous women's rights are protected?
Yeah,
And by so
sure. Like,
and doing that, it means we need to consult the elders in the community to seek informed consent, prior informed consent, that we have observed that Indigenous women's rights are not protected due to some reasons. So because of that, we want to ensure that their rights and their values are given adequate attention. I don't know how do we put it on the tree now?
I
The
think
main
the tree
objective.
has some numbers where the question 1 has a number we put there, question 2 has a number in the tree. You can see something like that in the tree.
Numbers?
Yeah, just check the tree. It has like numbers because it is written in a different language. But it has like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think question 1 goes to the number, like I don't know, maybe the translator can help us better.
And it's true. It's written in Spanish.
Yeah. Mm.
Could you put the link back again? Because when I lost the connection, I don't have the link access anymore. Could you just copy it and put it back in the chat for me?
Yeah, I'm doing it right away.
Oh, dear.
Is it there? I don't know if you can see it.
I can.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can copy it.
Susanna, are you there? Maybe we left you behind. Hello.
Yes, sisters, I'm here. I'm using a tablet instead of a computer, so it's hard for
Are
me
you able to come
to.
up with something? Because our time is up.
¿Quieres decir algo antes de que se nos acabe el tiempo? Ay.
Oh my God, I don't know if you have prepared something for presentation. What are we going to present? Hello.
I believe Priscilla has her mic closed. Okay, we're back. So we're gonna start a beautiful work. I was listening in one of the rooms. I was looking at the work at the first room, and when I got to room 3, they had finished. To invite you, I want to invite you to collaborate. You choose a leader. You probably already chose her, right? So the leader is going to socialize, is going to present the work that was organized by you. Let's start with the group 1. So you can present the work you did together. In this way, we're going to be able to get to know the methodologies and ways that each one of you from your territories have been working with. And we can share knowledge, experiences, and get to know each other more through this work, in the work we do. Let's get started. Group 1, who's going to share? Who's going to tell us about what you did?
Sorry, I don't know that what number group. So
Mm,
Un momento, por favor. Megumi, estás en el grupo 2.
let's go to group 2 while group 1 gets prepared. Nagumi, you're group 2. So we're going with group 2.
thank you. So my group present Halima, right? And I share the picture.
Yeah, share
Okay.
the screen. Yeah.
Mhm. Yes.
Okay. Okay, so I'll present for our group. The first question was about seed, and we said the initial seed is the one that is born into it. So it's like the tiny seed that holds the mighty plant. So our seed was planted the moment we were born into our communities. And the first ideas that was generated up to date is not our idea, but ideas of our elders and the respected elders in our communities. Okay, so as now we've grown and we've taken the role of a researcher, we come to grow to a new layer of a seed. A new layer of seed now comes out with that idea of amplifying our voices, our knowledge, and our challenges, rather than having someone else speaking for our own community. So that essence is brought up, ensuring that any research we do is genuinely for the benefit of our own people, and that it respects our knowledge and respect the system in our community. Question 2 was about the practices and knowledge used, the roots now. So our roots are the deep and is what we have now sustained to use in our generation. For example, the things we do in our own community, just as root anchors a plant and it provides sustainability, we also sustain our way of life and also ensure our continuity. So these are things that we do for the continuity of our community. For example, the oral tradition, the ceremonies, for those who are doing pastoralist in their community, it's not just a practice, it is the core knowledge of survival in the environment. And then question 3, which of our daily action contribute to intercultural research in your community? And clue of leaves, and leaf are part of a plant that interacts with the environment, and the leaves, they perform the process of photosynthesis and they also breathe. So in our own life, in our daily things, these are the visible and the interactions that we do every time to facilitate the exchange and creation of the knowledge in our intercultural research. So for example, the community meetings, the participatory observation, the casual information that we have every time. These are the daily breathings and photosynthesis activities in our life as of that of the animals, of the plant, sorry. And then number 4, and okay, also in the leaves, this is where our research actively engage with the environment through the things that I've mentioned, the observation, meetings, sharing, learning, casual conversations. Number 4, which part have been protagonists in the process of preserving our own methodologies? STEM. The STEM provide that support from the roots to the leaf to the flowers. So our support is represent our individual or the group that hold us and ensure that we flow with our tradition methodologies throughout the community. And these people are the elders, the women, the leaders, the healers. They are the strong segment of our community's STEM. They're the one living channels through where our ancestral knowledge flow from this generation to the next generation. So they ensure the continuity grow of our traditions. Number 5, what activities have we had in the implementation of our own methodologies? Flowers. Flower is a beautiful part. It's something that everyone wants to be given at least before they die. So it represents the reproduction and success. So flower can be the tangible or the intangible achievements and success that we have from implementing our traditional methodologies. That includes the process of conflict resolution, how we transfer knowledge, how we are self-determined in our own research, and the strong cohesion that we build. The last question, what aspect should we improve to better protect the knowledge of our community? parasite. Just like the parasites slowly weaken or damage and it kills the plant by feeding on its own, I don't know how to put it. These are also the kind of challenges and the internal or external weaknesses that we go through or that undermine our community's knowledge. For example, climate change, the intellectual property vulnerabilities, maybe language erosion, or even part of education at some communities. So these are the pests that attacks the plant of cultural knowledge. They represent the areas that we need to put more protective measures to prevent the harm and to ensure that we continue the growth of our community for the future generation. If any of my group member has a point, but I think I've explained. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you very much. If there's anyone that would like to add something, or we could go with, okay, if there's any, or if you believe that the idea is complete, yeah, we can continue with the following group. Okay, thank you, Rocio. I think we match with our ideas. Besides that, we've been working there in a group. Maybe we don't have the same language, but they helped out with the interpretation. But yeah, we have a lot of coincidences. What they shared is what we put down in the tree. So in every culture, in our culture, we have this, similar things. We all come down to the experience that we had lived in our communities, the experience that we have adopted through the persons that holds the knowledge, like the elders. The similarities from one community to other, that is in Africa or Asia, or in the south part of our continent, they have similarities because we are at the end communities that we live with related to our mother nature, our organizational structure. So I consider we understand. Maybe we don't understand our language, but we have that similarity in how we organize and how we live in our communities. Thank you. Thank you, Rocio. Exactly. Even though we are in different geographical territories, there are similarities as human and indigenous that connects us. Group 1, excellent work. Excellent work to group 2. Now we're going to listen to group 1. Who's group 1? Go ahead. Group number 1. If group number 1 is not ready, we go with group number 3. Go ahead, group number 3.
Hello, teacher. I'm going to be presenting on behalf of group 3. And we didn't come up with the 3, so I'm just going to explain the points we all gave.
Okay, go ahead, Habiba.
Okay, for the seed, Sister Martha said, system change while maintaining harmony and balance. Sister Sabanto said, amplification of the community voice. For me, it was knowledge preservation. For Sister Priscilla, it was propagation of new life. And for the roots, Sister Sabanto said, understanding. For me, it was documenting. Sister Martha said, trust. Song, advice, meet. Sister Yusleda said, the root is the beginning of what we plant. It is the selection of the best fruit. Sister Priscilla said, cultural continuity and transmission of value of indigenous belonging. Sister Yusleda said, for me, the root is the transit knowledge for the new generations that allow us to keep on moving as indigenous people. For the leaves, Sister Sabanto said, seeking and learning. Sister Martha said, local wisdom. For me, it's observing and learning, listening. For Sister Priscilla, cultural, ritual, and medical sacredness. For Sister Yusleda, where our research is going to take place. At the level of this term, for Sister Sabanto, it's our elders. For me, it's elders and knowledge holders. For Sister Martha, it's elder and leader in community. For Sister Priscilla, it's sturdiness of ancestors and we follow the suit to be resilient. For the flowers, Sister Sabanto said, resilience. For me, it's preservation of our ways. And for the parasites or ants, for Sister Martha, it's collaboration and networking. For Sister Sabanto, setting firmer boundaries with outsiders. For me, knowing how to coexist with Western cultures while maintaining our own ways. Thank you very much, and that's the presentation from Group 3.
Thank you very much, Habiba. Excellent work. A lot of income, like a lot of knowledge of each one of you. Group 1, Group 2, Group 3. Group number 1. Group number 1.
Group 1, we actually have a tree on the link. So I'm going to explain. I tried to share it, but it's not coming up. But I can explain. So for Group 1, the seed represents keeping of indigenous people's knowledge and traditional knowledge. Then the root represents the practices that we need to do as indigenous people. And that practice means involving the community in the activities of research, or informing them of our findings, what we felt that is going wrong in the community that need to be addressed. The leaves means that the traditional knowledge of the people, that we need to keep it alive. And how do we keep it alive? By ensuring that Indigenous people's language that is spoken at every home, and that elders will be involved in ensuring that Indigenous knowledge is kept alive. Then the flowers means that at traditional level, advocacy will be carried out so that the traditional knowledge will be taken to government level so that it will be implemented, it will pass through policies and laws that will make the traditional knowledge and Indigenous people's language to be spoken even at home, and then it will be documented, and it will be documented in the school curriculum where the children will be taught on how to speak Indigenous language so that it will not die. Then the number 5 question, the parasites, is the Western education that has eaten up our Indigenous language. Children these days no longer speak Indigenous language. They prefer to speak Western language. And by so doing, when we go to the communities, the languages are dying. The traditional knowledge that were transferred from our ancestors, they are all dying gradually. So what we have resolved to do as researchers is to ensure that this traditional knowledge and languages of Indigenous people will be documented. It will be documented, and then we collaborate with other intercultural Indigenous women, like we are doing this forum, like as we are discussing, is a kind of promoting Indigenous language. So what we have agreed to do is that during the course of this research, we also not only dive into our own community, we also look at other Indigenous people's way of life, their culture, how they preserve it, so that we can emulate from that and also preserve our own traditional knowledge. Thank you very much. That is all from Group 1.
Teacher, you unmute.
Teacher, your microphone is closed. Okay, thank you. I'm going to try to make a synthesis, get the ideas from each group that we can give feedback precisely among all of us. This exercise we did, it is very dynamic. I could identify the feeling, identify the bets we have as women, or that we are part of an Indigenous peoples. We have a very rich culture, and it's this is something we're very proud of. So group 2, what I was able to gather from what you shared, you were saying that the community, especially the elders and women and healers, act as the root and share the knowledge and the methodology, the traditional methodology, through generations within a research and learning collective process. Through the relation you have with roots, the leaves and flowers, they invite to describe how the functioning and flows of the community works, highlighting the importance of the environment and the personal relationships in the preservation of their cultural methodologies as well as their knowledge. They also speak about tangible and untangible wealth of putting in traditional ways of conflict resolution, they represent the fruits of the community, but these are being menaced by external and internal, and they're compared as parasites. Climate change and vulnerability in the intellectual property, and they menace the community. Group 3 highlights the preservation of the knowledge and ancestral wisdom through preservation, learning from the elders, and respect for the spirituality, the rites, the ceremonies, while there's a search for balance between the internal and the external cultures and the traditions. They show different members of the community value different aspects, as well as valuing they have specific and very important roles in preservation and transmission of life itself and the culture, like the elders, the limits with the exterior, and others. And all of this is something that has like objectives, preservation, and group 1 talks about the importance of revitalizing the language and the knowledge of the peoples, integrating them at home in their schooling projects as a way to resist against the influence and the education of the Western world that has contributed to the disappearing of the local cultures. The sister talks about the importance of highlighting the knowledge and languages and the collaboration amongst women to guarantee continuity and the preservation of the community and life itself. This is what I was able to gather from the participation of each one of the groups. I would like you to help me complement what I was able to get, and I'd like you to for you to also share and about this exercise that we did to be able to give feedback amongst each other. So we're going to end and continue. So what were you able to hear, to gather? What would you like to give feedback? Who says me? Do you consider that I was able to get everything you talked about? Is there anything missing? What are your thoughts on what others talked about? I think it's quite clear of what we're living through in the indigenous communities. Maybe there's some things missing, of course, but personally, I feel like in this moment, I can see more clearly the method that you shared that can be used in the communities. I was feeling a little afraid in the methodology aspect because my fear was that I was not able to kind of direct myself to what the communities are living through. So within my project, and I'm going to mention it like this, a methodology that was very personal, but I had not seen the aspects that were collective, the part that how we can share this methodology with the community collectively. So at least I was able to understand with the knowledge from the different sisters from the different countries. My point of view has opened of what we want and how to go forth regarding the methodology. Personally, I was able to understand a little bit more, and I know along the way I'm gonna learn more. We're all gonna, but yeah, I'm able to see more clearly what to look for in the project. Okay, great. Thank you, Lucio. Anybody else that might want to say something?
Me, teacher. Okay, what
Go
I
ahead, please.
learned from all our sisters, like interventions, was that we might have different points of view, so what we want to achieve, like we have different objectives, but all sums up to the fact that we all want to improve the conditions of our communities. So that's what I got from all this.
Perfect. Thank you, Habiba. Thank you very much for your feedback. Right now, we're going to go into the next activity. Halima wants to participate. Kalima, please go ahead.
Okay, I just wanted to add the point of the Western culture that our group did not mention, but it's something that is really affecting our indigenous language up to date, because we all want to go with how life is right now and leave behind whatever was behind us. So I am grateful for the group presented that point. It has now clicked in my mind that that what they're saying actually is true, because our generation, we want to flow with the modern way, but not the old ways. So thank you.
Yes, thank to you, my sister. Yes, this is very true. The consumerism from these strategies that the Western world uses, and how they somehow are able to dominate us, filling us with thoughts that are very strongly coming into our territories, bringing debilitating our cultures. And this is why there's such an important role for us as women to be part and main characters in being able to give contribute to the resistance and be very resilient. I've heard somebody saying, let's do women's networks, and not only that, but also show that we're able to have a very beautiful place in our communities as procreators of life. Okay, ready. So let's go into the activity 2. We're going to do this very quickly. I'm going to give some points that might help you in the work you're going to be doing in the research project. So that's the spirit, so that you can start structuring the work that you are going to be doing, that you have been doing. So in order to speak about the Western culture, there's been some changes, some paths. More than colonization, the Western world uses other strategies, many other strategies, to dominate the ways of thought and the knowledge, right? So among these are that when we speak about imperialists' way of thought, imperialism, it is the process by which the Western knowledge gets established as a rule. And it moves out other knowledges and they get considered inferior or small. And that's the thought that we have to take into account when we speak about the imperialist way of thought. My way of thought is better because I make laws, I do decree, I do protocols, I do conventions, right? Where they're always looking to have what, but they're talking about equality, but that means homogenizing to only have one point of view of what is being projected. And the other projects, other ways of thought are being denied of other peoples. They are denying the diversity of the ways of thought that enrich the world, right? The colonization, we must take into account that means subjugation, domination, but like by force, let's say. It is like the invasion, as you were talking about. It's the invasion to our territories. It's the occupying them by external controls. They come into our territories, and they control them. And this is also scientific colonialism. And this is the imposing of ways of thought. They also control all the knowledge that is produced. So this is where more than one of you knows that in the past, the research, we're not even co-authors. We're not even mentioned in the documents, in the research done in the past.
The indigenous people, we are not seen, because when they write about the rights, like copyrights, they write it just they show it as their own properties, and they don't show the indigenous people. And we need to take into account that it in the field of Western world, this globalization is something that comes in. I felt that somebody was saying how globalization affects our territory, right? Globalization, what it takes is part of colonization, but is how the globalization, it's a topic about capitalism, like to invest resources in the territories where they have colonized, the territories they have overcome. Like in this case, developed countries, they come, invest, and they control economically in these countries. Let's say for the countries that are not really developed. So we're going to taking into account each points of the imperialism, globalization. Now we're going to approach with this view of like decolonize or bring down this structure, the homogenizing system. And so we're going to, so this is the struggles and fights of the indigenous peoples around the world. In this sense, what we're looking for is to let the world know, to show the Western world we work from a real context, right? So that's a characteristic of our research, of the research methodology that we are working. We work with real context and we work from our territories, from their own territories, like where you were born, where you were raised up, right? And we create concepts. How can I say it? My God. We create concepts from what we live, not ideas, not from supposition, but we build it from the from our daily living, like daily in a daily basis living. So work are placed in the context, in our local context. Yes, we're based in local experience lived in the community, based on our cultural principles. It is based on our cultural principles, as you were saying, and not from sayings, right? Therefore, our research is, I mean, it is related. We conducted from the community, from the interpersonal relations, intercultural relations, and it's related to taking into account our cultural narratives, like the relation we have with the land, the living beings, and from the community. So that's the topic of rationality. And also there's the responsibility topic. Is the role of the researcher in the pursuit of justice, resilience, that the dominant ideologies that dominate and impose the community. So we want to get rid of that. And also our research, our research work, is based on reverence, because we recognize ourselves in the framework of autonomy. We recognize our spirituality, also our values and cultural basis. Also, we have, talking about the ethical principle, we have the respect. From the first moment that we're going to start with a research process until we end with the research, at the end we're going to get a product. It must be documented. It could be a documentary, writings, maybe, yes. The protagonist, let's say, or the essence of this research, it must be centered to the community where it was developed or conducted. So this work is going to look for a communitarian benefit, as we already said. The researchers, we have a role there, more like the role of as facilitator of the life project that our territory have, our communities. So us, talking about us, is the case of the Indigenous woman. And we also have the component of reflexivity. I mean, in every moment we do a research work, and also as Amazon Indigenous woman, last night we were doing an evaluation, what we were doing, how did it do in this research work. So we are reflecting, we are talking, we're conversing around the work that we're doing. Generally, we do it during the night time, so that next day we could guide ourselves among ourselves, maybe to overcome some difficulties maybe we could have in the research. So this is a really important thing in the research process, to have a reflection and to think about the methodology that we use, if it's the best one, or maybe if we need to maybe include another methodology. But I was trying to achieve the objective of our research. So that's what I wanted to share with you in a general aspects. So when we want to decolonize thoughts, different the indigenous people, we start with a grief, like it's like we call it grief. I don't know how you explain it. It's to remember what happened with my community, with my people, and start healing ourselves, precisely that pain that we had. And we do a healing process, territorial healing process, personal healing process, aquatic or water healing that will help us and not stay there as victims, but strengthen our strength, like our territories, and also to be committed that the work we do is going to be for the benefit of our community or people. So that's what I can say, like talking generally. So what the work we're doing is we have the commitment as researchers become political advocates. So what we're looking for with this research, it's not only a document, it has to be a political advocacy from the territory that can let us and give us a letter to navigate through the dreams and objectives, purpose we have for our peoples. So that's what we wanted to share, what I wanted to share with you. So now we're going to precisely go to some videos. We're going to watch some videos about the work experience some colleagues had in their intercultural research. Communication, would you please project the video, please? For all the women that are involved in this diploma process. Good afternoon. Greetings to all the women.
Teacher, you
Good afternoon. Greetings to all the women that are involved in this process of this diploma course. Congratulations for trying to do something new and and wanting to study and to train yourselves better.
To train better.
I'm
I'm a
psychologist
psychologist
in
from about 15 years back.
since
I've been
15 years
working
ago.
in
I've been working
intervention
in a
and
research process with the indigenous people. The first
research
question says,
with indigenous people.
Interpretación, hay
Which,
contestación.
first of all, you need not to be impose their techniques. You have to start from the interest of the community in a situation that the community wants to resolve. Secondly, we need to accomplish some own way of organizing themselves. Like first we need to observe, and starting from based on that observation, maybe we can establish like the dynamics of what are the structure of authorities, how they manage the time, what are their habits, their way of organizing and social construction. And in that sense, we can do some categories for analysis and collect the data and organizing and collect our data. So in order to establish a way of communication. In terms of what are the recommendations to organize and plan our research, there are several aspects. The most important is to use the self spaces. Do not take away from their places. Let them talk from their places. How they transmit respect the time of the community, respect the dynamics, not impose our techniques. Get involved with the people from the community in different spaces. Let's say in spaces like complements, in generational complements like women, men, kids, in different spaces, and then we can do like feedback sessions maybe, or together, or we could come to a plenary, so we can do several places, several moments to articulate among them and talk with them. The third question: what are the elements to conduct intercultural research? The main thing is establish the problem as a collective way, from the communitarian approach as a researcher. As a researcher, we need to accompany, not impose our methodology. Not so let the community to take the leading part. The language must be a language that the community could understand, not technical language. So like the not 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 leading, the researcher must not lead the research process. The language should be a language that the people could understand, and let's try to be less technical, something to okay. So though it seems like we have technical issues, the video doesn't run anymore. Like that's the last part we could see. It's not running more anymore. Hello, everybody. I'm teacher from the Central University of Caucapa. I'm developing a research process from a long time ago. I started my formation process in basic education and recreational physical in the University of Kansas. Yeah, I did my master in when I had the possibility to share with a teacher, with a group of researcher, Napoleon. So it was a symbolic. So I started to know a little bit more the logics of research, pragmatic research, holistic research. It has to see with complementarity, which is a proposal of research that is trying to aim the problem of research from the self-logic of research, trying to work the different methods and instruments. From there, I've been working practically in my whole career with a topic that has to see with social exclusion. So from that experience came out a really beautiful project, which is intercultural research. So in the Valley of Cauca, we have worked with indigenous community, with Afro-Colombian people, women, with transgender people, with a lot of communities, elders people, disabled people. So they have suffered social exclusion. So intercultural has a really important role in this process. So our research process, we have understood how to live the research process in a cultural way. In order to carry out intercultural research, we need to understand a key element is the attitude of our as researcher, the different perspective of intercultural that has raised in the world. There are many postures that as researchers dominate the knowledge from let's say in a way that imposing sense. So the researcher works like a subject that observes an object. So we need to change that approach. We need to understand the logics. We don't need to feel superior to the community. We need to open ourselves and to start to generate
Because we had some problems in the transmission of the two videos, I'm going to ask communication team to upload them in the modal so you can actually see them there and see them there. They're very interesting. They are two different experiences. One of them is very much from the academic world. They work with indigenous communities and peasant communities. And the other experience is an indigenous researcher who's doing very interesting work in the Amazons in Colombia. The activity, my sisters, that what we have left is, even though we're not yet able to see the videos completely, because this activity was projected, was planned taking into account, once we had seen the video, to be able to, and this is individual by each one of you as an individual, each student, each sister, make a map of your territory, where you draw a map. You're going to draw the map of your territory, right? Where you will place there, you will draw, you will represent somehow the elements that make part of what is the most relevant aspect for you. If they would ask me to make this map, I would place there my place of origin. In my narrative, there's a place. We call it the sacred place. I'm going to highlight it there. I'm going to highlight the maloca, which is like the house. Symbolically, it represents as the cosmos and the connection, the spiritual connection that we have with the creator or the creators and our original territory or place of origin or territory of origin. I'm going to make a river. I'm going to place a river that is very important, that from our cultural narratives plays a great role, or from our feeding nutritional point of view. And I'm going to represent it there. I'm going to place it there. The idea is that you can put there the most significant aspects of culture, of the territory itself. What is the support, the cultural support for the survival, both culturally and human and non-human, of survival in our territory? And we're going to answer the following questions. Once the context has been identified, you shall reflect on the topic you consider important to research. It means what you are seeking to discover or learn, right? So what's the objective here? The idea is that once you identify the most relevant places, that maybe it could be both positive, or in my territory, there's something that close by to the place of origin or a sacred place, there's this lotting or plundering, or they're polluting the river, or there's something that's hurting my territory happening there. So we can place that there as well. So this is going to tell us why we want to do our research. Is it to show the negative aspects and be able to do actions that might save or somehow fight against? Or we want to show to the external world the positive aspects, the strengths toward to these other worlds from my own culture. What methodology? So that's question 2. Would you implement, and why? You told us some methods before, previously, that you've been doing in your territories. As Rocio was saying, it was very hard to identify if you're really doing it or if you're not, this type of methodologies, right? So you're going to tell us, right? You're going to write something very short, what you've been doing in your methodology in your territory. And the third is how to articulate community participation with the research proposal. Let's remember that we've always said that every research project in the communities usually starts from communal conversations. It's not just me being a researcher and I thought of it on my own. First, there's like a consensus, there's a communal look, and from there we can get our proposal. Data collection methods. What type of information are we going to collect? How will you proceed? What forms of knowledge will be prioritized? Oral, visual, written? How can we guarantee respect for traditions, beliefs, and values of the communities? And we have to take into account the ethics, what we've talked about, the ethics during the research. And how are we going to guarantee confidentiality and consent? So the answers to the above questions will be represented graphically on the map of your territory with a short description. So that's the activity we're going to do right now. We have 10 minutes. So 10 minutes, okay? We finish this work in 10 minutes. And very quickly, two sisters will share with us their work. And the other sisters that are not able to share because of time, please, we will upload them in the platform in Moodle. You take a picture and you upload it. And you describe briefly what you wanted to represent. Is everything clear? Could you please project the questions to be able to see them? I was not able to write them all. Yes, teacher. So we have 10 minutes. It's the most important things, and take into account the methodologies that you have been implementing, the methods of recollection and ethics. So you depict on this image these vital aspects.
Sisters? Hello, sisters? Let's stop for a minute. Let's pause for a minute. Let's take a, I'm going to give some orientation. It's going to be very helpful to each one of us. I'd like to share with you that we're not going to finish the activity because this activity was subject to the previous two videos we were going to watch. Since we couldn't watch the videos, you know, sometimes we get this kind of situation. So nevertheless, these videos, it's going to be on Moodle. They're going to be uploaded on Moodle for those of you that speak English. Since it's not translated, it doesn't have any subtitle. It's going to provide you a text containing the what the video contains, like so you can work on the questions. So, but this is going to be on Moodle so we're going to work on this on Tuesday. So we hope with this time you enrich your work. You do a good job. And the other thing is, if you have any doubts, if you have any questions, or you're not clear about something, so if you need to be clear, so yeah, if there's any doubts, I'm really open to hear your questions and to try to help you out with the questions and doubts you have. So this exercise we are pending, you know, the presentation. So we're going to present it next session. I am hearing. Okay. So meanwhile, let's think about next session. If you have any doubt, next session, we're going to upload it on Moodle for those of you that speak English. We're going to upload a text with the content of the video. So in order for you to work on the questions. So we're going to take over next Tuesday with this topic, with this content. So what we did is we did a feedback when you started with the work that with the answers that you uploaded on the forum. So I tried to give you a general idea about your participation on the forum. And then next, what I tried to do is in this session to get feedback about the experiences that each one of us had in our research projects that we've been conducting from our territory, from our own experiences. So it was really interesting to me that we shared at least I shared with you how I am working from this our own methodology and how it helps me to enrich, to nourish my research proposal. That was the essence. And then I gave basic elements like priorities to take into account, like what imperialism, what's colonization, what's globalization, that they have important role when we want to deconstruct thoughts. We need to take into account this kind of elements. So I was trying to do a conclusion about the step by step the work we're doing, to try to understand this knowledge in our territories, this learnings in our territories. Once you see the videos, you will be able to answer the questions you have. So that would be it, sisters. It was really pleasing for me to hear from you. Even though we're talking about interculturality, like even though we talk about Western, there is an interculturality among us as well. In my life experience, I am learning from you. I'm knowing from you. I want to learn more from you because I live in a remote, culturally remote country. I live in a forest, rainforest, where we don't have connectivity, we don't have electricity, we don't have a computer. I have learned to manage the computer like I don't have that skills to manage computer. What I do most is tag from my experience. For example, I have chakra experience. I have experience in seeds. I have experience in managing malokas and cultural experience. Because the essence for us to coexist and to keep living or to maintain or to have that foundation really solid, that cultural foundation, we need to have really solid cultural foundation. So to each one of you, thank you very much. Thank you very, very much. I'm learning from you. So I'm here to support you in any aspect you need support. I'm here to support you, to help you out. So the exercise is going to be on Moodle, and see you next Tuesday. So I know you're going to give many positive, enriching assignments and work and answers you're going to give me. Thank you very much. I am really pleased with each one of you. You're going to give me really good contributions. Thank you. Thank you. Gracias.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Beautiful thought and